Thank you for that, Doug. I have been so supported in this sermon. I asked Cindy, she asked me, is there any songs, Christmas songs you really like sung? And I said, well, no, not really. And then I said, there is one song that I really like. It's not, per se, a Christmas song. She says, well, what is it? I said, Mary, did you know? Well, come to find out, she says, Doug's singing that. He's singing that this coming Sunday or something like that. And I went, oh, okay, well, that's okay. And then we came to find out it wasn't that Sunday, it was this one. So thank you, God. And thank you, Doug. Well, as you can see, all the decorations have been put out. I hope each one of you had a chance to check them out and enjoy them. That was done Monday, and I come in Monday to write the kids' program, and I had forgotten that they were doing it that Monday. And I was sitting here at the desk doing my work, and all of a sudden I hear clank, clank, clunk, 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 and I'm like, what is going on? And I get up and go around the corner, and the ladder's down, up to the attic. And there's Patrick up there. He had gotten something and threw some box down. I'm not sure what one it was. And I was like, well, let me give you a hand. So, he's tossing down these boxes, and I'm pulling them out. We're throwing them all here stacked up, and one after the other comes down out of the attic, and I set him here, and then I went back to work. Well, he comes over here, and he's organizing it, getting everything, straight, all the garland together, all the bulbs, all the lights, the tree, and so on. So he gets it all organized, and shortly after that, Vince shows up. So the two of them pull the Christmas tree out of the box, and they're, figuring, okay, well, which way does this go? And, we got to hook this up, and I think one of the branches had come off, and they readjusted it and all. And so they got that assembled, and they no more than got that put up. And Becky came in, and she came in to help. And I'm not sure if it was Becky and Vince that strung the lights or whether it was Patrick and Vince, but anyway, they got the lights strung, and then they started hanging all the beautiful ornaments. And they did it with such love and care. And then Patrick came through after they were all done. And he said, I think this is one of the most beautiful trees we've ever had here at the church. And I have to agree with him. So, then I think Vince and Patrick, they started strategizing. They grabbed the garland and said, okay, well, this is the next thing. And they were trying to figure out which one went where. Okay, is this the long one, the short one? No, it needs to go here, it needs to go there. And then it was a matter of figuring out how to hang them. And they needed a couple things. We were running around looking for things and getting them attached properly. And they got a couple of them up, and I took a break, and I started, fixing the bows and fluffing up the needles and all. And then Becky went to work on another one, and before long, they were all straightened up and full and looked like they were full of life again. And I think we were almost done with that, and Samantha and Cole walked in. Excuse me. Anyway, Samantha and Cole walked in the back, and they're just oohing and ahhing, looking at everything, all the decorations. And, they walk through, and they're standing there just kind of amazed, doing, wow. And all of a sudden, Patrick comes around the corner, and he's like, oh, great, let me show you what to do. He immediately put them to work, no waste of time, no waste at all. So, I think he got them working on the light there in the entry, and I think they put out some more decorations and hung wreaths and all. And finally, everything was done. It didn't take too long. And everything's kind of, all the bags that held everything sitting around all over, and the boxes. So everybody's picking everything up, and, I was still, I think, working on something, maybe the garden back there, and I turned around, and next thing I knew, the boxes and bags were gone. They had been working up a storm. And Cole, I just love him to death. He did great. He grabbed that vacuum cleaner, and let me tell you what, he vacuumed the whole sanctuary. All the glitter and all the pine needles that had fallen off the tree and the garland that had been drug around. I mean, just killed it. So once that was all complete, somebody lit the candles. and we had the lights down. And it was, the afternoon, so there was light in here, but it was just beautiful to stand here. And we took the time to say a prayer. We came in a circle here, and we said a prayer, and called in the Christmas angels and Interquest angels, and it was just so beautiful. And I realized at that moment, you could just feel the energy. You could feel Christmas coming in, that surge. My Christ expanded. And I'm sure you guys, probably feel that same energy this morning when you were lucky enough to come in right after that, When we do something like that, we're doing it for all of you. We've taken the time to open our hearts. Christmas is a time that we share different aspects. We pull out those things that we've had tucked away for so long, and we're like, wow, this is new. Oh yeah, I haven't seen that in a while. And we get to share parts with others that we don't always pull out, and it makes it special. I remember there was a Christmas that I went through, and it's kind of a vague memory. It's hard to really pinpoint when it happened, but I was totally disconnected. I was going through the motions of everything that was happening. Okay, well, I got to buy this Christmas gift and that Christmas gift, and I need to go over and help my sister with this, or take the kids here and there. And it was kind of like when you watch a movie and there's this actress and you're wondering what it is she's doing. Why is she doing that? She's not really participating. What's going on? It was very strange, very disassociated. And I know at times we can all fall into that, especially during this, holiday season. We get caught up and we forget what Christmas is all about. So when that happens, just take a moment and step back. Take a breath, and let it go. Reconnect and ask God, what is mine to do? Or just go within your heart and say, hey, what does my heart want to do? Because if you follow your heart, you're going to follow God. You're going to follow your path and what's right for you. Christmas time, there's a lot of preparation. And we start thinking and overthinking and overanalyzing. And then, it's like, okay, I've already got this one. Check that mark off. Check that mark off. And then, there's the Christmas decorations, right? So we pull them out of our own attics and closets and start decorating. We take the time to decorate our houses and make them beautiful. We trim our trees and string the lights in our yard. And what do we do it for, really? What do you do it for? You do it for your loved ones. You do it because you want to share your heart with them. You want to share your Christ. We want to extend a feeling that we don't have throughout the year. And we go shopping, and we're all excited, and we're out there with the crowds. Maybe we order online, and we're looking for that right and perfect gift. And then we find it, and we take it home, and we're all excited, and we wrap it up, and we put special bows on it. And we're thinking, I hope they really like this, because I spent all this time, And why are we doing it? Because our loved ones. Christmas is about giving and sharing. And I'm not talking just material things, okay? I'm talking about giving of yourselves. talking about giving other people compassion, time, love, honor, and a part of your Christ. And that's what Christmas is about. You know, when we create something and we do it with love, we're doing it with God. That energy is filled with God's energy. When you bring love into a situation, it becomes expanded. It experiences synergy. Okay? And we know what that does. It grows beyond what we put into it. You know, we think, okay, well, I've put all this energy, and all of a sudden we see something and go, wow, it's really big. It's bigger than what I thought it should be, you know, for the time. And that's because you connected to God, and you actually co-created. And when that happens, it becomes very special. It becomes infused with God energy. And our Christ light just shines brighter at that moment. And we're not sure exactly why. Take the time to stand back and look at it. You know, after you've put in all this time to decorate and buy those presents, take a moment for yourself and say, look at what I've done with my energy. Look at how I want to share my heart with my friends, my family, my loved ones. You did a good job, you know? When we celebrate the birth of Jesus, we do it in remembrance. We remember his teachings and how he taught us that we're connected to God. We're connected through our inner Christ. And it's up to us to work that inner Christ. He left a pattern for us to follow, and we've just got to follow it. It's wonderful. I'd like to read you a story here. And it's about how much work there is to do. I'll set the stage, and it's Jesus is at a healing pool. Surprise! He's at a healing pool, and the people believe that there are healing angels that come and stir the pools and fill them with a healing energy. And the people that are standing around get in immediately. And then they soak up that healing energy and they're healed. And once a certain amount of people get in, the energy's gone. And they've got to wait for the next time that the healing angel comes and stirs it up again. Well, there's a gentleman that has come and sat beside the pool nearby, and he's lame. He doesn't get around well. And every time the pools are stirred, the people all rush and get in. And because of his lameness, he has difficulty. He can't get to the pool in time to receive that healing. Well, Jesus is walking up, and he sees him there. And he asks him, don't you want to get in the pool? And the man says, yes, but I can't get there. I have no one to take me. And he says, do you want to be healed? And the man says, yes. So he says, take up your blanket and go. And the man just says, okay. And he gets it. He goes with his faith, and he picks it up, and he walks away. He's healed in that moment. And the thing is that this was on the Sabbath that it happened. Okay? And back then, on the Sabbath, you did nothing. No work at all. And a healing was considered work. So Jesus was in a little bit of trouble. Let me read it. Okay, this is out of the Bible, the Longsa version. And it's John 5. Start at verse 15 through 17. And the man went away and told the Jews that it was Jesus who had healed him. And for this reason, the Jews persecuted Jesus and wanted to kill him because he was doing these things on the Sabbath. But Jesus said to them, "My Father works even until now, so I also work." At that moment, Jesus is telling us that God works all the time. God works every day because he's committed. And guess what? So was Jesus. He worked every day. He was doing the work and laying the groundwork for all of us. You know, he also said, "He who believes in me shall do the works I do." Think about those words. You know, when we think about them, we think, oh yeah, the miracles, you know, all the goody-goody stuff, all the blessings. Now, listen to the words. "He who believes in me shall do the works I do." Now think about Jesus' life. You know, we hear some miracles, we read about him in the Bible, but think about really what all he did. You know, as a youth, he traveled the country. I mean, he traveled into different countries. He walked. Now, I know most of us at some point in our lives have traveled, and traveling is work. I mean, even when you take a train, a plane, or a car. Now imagine walking and carrying everything and taking your time to spend with the people to spread a message. And then he attended schools. He attended several different mystery schools. You know, not just one, more than one. And think about today, our kids in college, how much work it takes, how much time they spend just to get through that one college. Can you imagine if they had to attend 3? Oh, no way. And then he became a full-on adult, and he went out and he taught. And teaching is work. Our teachers are wonderful. They put in a lot of work. He went out and spoke with the masses. And as he's telling them these stories, you know, they were all new. It was new ideas. He had to hold the light for them so that they could understand what he was telling them. You know, imagine that. I mean, think about it. Have you ever tried to hold the light in a room for just a handful of people? You know how hard that is? I mean, think about just trying to hold the light in yourself through the day. You know? Tapping into that, that's a challenge. Jesus was working. He was committed. You know, this is what his soul had decided to do. And I'm sure he knew what it was going to take to do it. It was going to take a lot. When he talked to the people, he gave them new radical ideas and thoughts about life. You know, he expanded their consciousness. And he knew that if someone would just take a little time, that little extra time, and really open their hearts and listen to his message, that they would be expanded. They would lift in consciousness. And after that, they wouldn't be the same person they were. They would be transformed. They would think of new possibilities. I mean, this was a totally different idea, different and radical idea. You know, if you think about it, before Jesus, they were taught that God, you know, was outside of themselves. God lived up in heaven, right? Totally away. If you wanted to talk to God, what did you do? You went to the temple, you talked to the priest, made offerings. The priest would get your message through to God. Totally separate. And then here comes Jesus. What's he doing? He's teaching them a totally new, radical idea that God lives within each of you, each of them. Their Christ is connected to God. I mean, that had to be a mind blower. Think about it. I mean, it's like, really? You know, this is a new and radical thought for them at the time. I don't know if any of you, have ever been approached with an idea or a thought. Somebody tell you something new. If you're here, chances are you have. And, when something challenges your current belief system, what happens? Some of us shut down. Some of us say, oh, that can't be so. Some of us run from it. But some of us, it rings true in our hearts. And when that happens, we become expanded. Our Christ blossoms and just shines. When we hear that faint truth, then we start asking more questions. What are the possibilities? What's out there for me? What can I do now? This past Monday, it was an opportunity for several of us to come in and to expand our Christ. We came in with love and open hearts. We didn't come in and decorate to get accolades. We came in to share our Christ with our church family because we care and love you. That moment, we actually got to experience Christmas spirit. And we hope that by doing an outer demonstration here, like Jesus did for all of you, that your Christ is also touched. That you can feel that Christ moving through you, that Christmas spirit. And you're blessed each and every day. There's another Christmas. A Christmas that I want to share with you. It means a lot. It's something, excuse me. It's something that has got me through many years, after going through being totally cut off. I was very young and married, and I had been living in Michigan, and I moved back to California. I had, my oldest son was about 3, and my oldest daughter was around 7 months old. And coming back to California, I was excited to, get in touch again with family and friends. And I reconnected with a friend that I met back in middle school, and we got along so wonderfully. We were like sisters, and we still talk to each other, and I visit her. But it was really good to see her, and it was Christmas Eve, and both of us had to work. And she was a hairdresser, and I can't remember what I was doing. I'd done so many different things. But we both had to work that Christmas Eve. And at lunchtime, I took off work, and I went over to see her to wish her a Merry Christmas and just, get caught up on life, what's been going on. And we had a really nice visit and talked with each other, and she shared what was going on, and she told me that, she was getting by, not making a lot of money, but she was getting by, and the only thing that she kind of regretted was that she didn't have enough money to buy a tree. I was like, oh, darn. And I could understand, because when we grew up, we would talk about decorating our trees, and we got together and we did trees together too at times. But the Christmas tree was very special to both of us. And I think that was because we each had similar memories. I mean, I remember being a very young child, and my great-grandmother would make hot cocoa in the kitchen, and you could just smell it throughout the house. And then my grandparents would get all the decorations out and put on Christmas music, and all us kids would get together, my cousins, and we would make a family event of it and decorate the tree. And that was how both our families had chosen to bring in Christmas spirit. Maybe that's why we resonated with each other so much. We were very similar. So I understood her not having the tree. You know, it was her first Christmas on her own in her new apartment. She was all excited, and we, you know, when we first moved out, you know, we're trying to gather things, dishes and linens and furniture, you know, and all that takes money, you know, even if you get it secondhand. You're lucky if you get it donated from a family. But she's just getting started, and, you know, I went back to work after lunch and talking with her, and I was thinking, you know, she must be really challenged, because here, my husband at the time and I were both working. We had 2 incomes. We had 2 little kids, but they didn't need a whole lot. It didn't cost too much more for them. And I was thinking, gosh, I couldn't imagine trying to do everything with just that one income and make ends meet. So I got off work, and I can't remember what time it was, but I remember it was in the evening. And I decided that I was going to go get her a tree. I drove around. Now, this is Christmas Eve, and it's already dark, so most of the lots are closed. You know, I'm like, this is closed. I'm driving around, and I finally pulled up, and the guys had loaded what they had left up, and there's this one little thing. I didn't say a tree. It was maybe 3 feet tall, if we were lucky, and, you know, it's still like, you know, it looked like a tree top, not a full tree. And I asked him how much it was, and I can't remember, and I paid him the money for it. And I took that tree. It was so small I could put it in my trunk. So I put it in the trunk of the car, and I ran off to the nearest store, and I bought a string of lights, and I bought a couple packs of bulbs. I think I bought some icicles. That was back when they had icicles. And I was so excited. I mean, I didn't even think about my family on Christmas Eve. I was so excited. I went to her place, and I've got everything in hand, because the tree's small now. Got the bag, the tree. And I knocked on her door, and she opened the door, and the look on her face just moved me. She was so excited and so happy. You know, we both bust into tears, boo-hooed. It's like, oh. Well, then we went to work immediately, got the tree set up, decorated it completely, and then stood back. And we both thought, gosh, this is the most beautiful tree we've ever seen. And I kept thinking, how could this be? I know what it looked like. I know what I bought. How could this tree look so bright, so full? And it took many years for me to realize what happened, what took place that night. It was a miracle. The 2 of us worked together. The 2 of us shared our Christ. And in doing that, you could see the Christ infused in that tree. And the God energy shine all around it. And that was the light and energy that was flowing off it. Not just the little store-bought lights. It was the love that we had for each other. the honor and consideration, the Christed energy, or what we call today Christmas spirit. You know, we don't have to go through the year without that. That's something that we can work on every day. Jesus laid the groundwork. Jesus said, hey, look at what I'm doing. Follow behind. I've set the pattern. This is what you can do. I have faith in you. Take that leap of faith. Think about how wonderful you feel at Christmas time. How your heart opens and fills with warmth and compassion and love. Love of your fellow man. You get to that point of love where you stop thinking about yourself and your needs. And you put your brothers and sisters first. You want to share your heart, your love, your Christed light with them. It's that connection that we all have, that unity of oneness that we forget that's there. It's not just there during Christmas. It's there every day. It just has to be cultivated. It's just like when you're working in the garden. There's that word again, work. It takes effort on our part to expand our light, to open our hearts, and to think about something greater. And when we do that, we're filled with that love and light and joy and compassion. And when that happens, that Christmas spirit comes in, and the world outside gets a little smaller. You know, those little things that irritate us and hound us and we get grouchy about become less important. They take a back seat to truth. The truth of who we truly are. Divine, loving children of God. We're all connected. Part of Christmas is celebrating Jesus' birth. And sometimes the expression, you can't see the forest through the trees. We think, oh, the baby's so sweet. He brought in, the infancy. But really what we experience at Christmas time is what he left for us as an adult. We experience his teachings, his energy, his resonance. And we thank God every day for it. Because we couldn't love. We couldn't have compassion. We couldn't expand and express ourselves without it. We would be going to temple and asking, can you get a message to God? Well, thank God we're not. So, each of us express differently. We're divine, unique individuals. Find what's in your heart. Find what excites you and do it. I know it's work, but it doesn't have to be drudgery. If it was drudgery, nobody would do it. Jesus wouldn't have done it. He enjoyed what he was doing. He was sharing his heart with his family, just like we share our hearts with our families. So go out, find something that invigorates you, that stimulates you. Work your Christ. Expand it. Hold on to it every day, not just at Christmas. So, who's ready to take a moment and go within and connect to their Christ? Yeah, just take a breath and let it go. And just feel a column of light coming over you. Feel God's love pouring over every cell of your body. As you're just wrapped in warmth of that Christmas spirit. As it invigorates and generates energy throughout your body. As your heart becomes stimulated. And just feel your heart expand now. As it grows with love. That expansion is your Christ, your higher self. It's been waiting for you to just awaken to its full potential. Let it go. Let it expand. And just go for the ride. Follow your heart and see where it takes you on the wonderful journey of life. Thank you. Thank Jesus for coming here and laying the groundwork for our Christ. Take a breath and open your eyes when you're ready.